Good afternoon, and welcome to Conversations with Nancy J. I am your host, Nancy J. Lewis. This is a show that we interview everyday people that are doing extraordinary things, ordinary people doing extraordinary things in life. So you'll be blessed, you'll be inspired, you'll have the desire to just keep going no matter what you're going through. So our guest this afternoon is Annetta Swift. Welcome. How you doing?
I'm so glad to be here.
So glad
Thanks
you're
for having
here.
me, Nancy.
This is my pleasure.
Yes, congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Conversations with Nancy J. So this is just really a conversation about what's going on with you, who you are, some of the challenges you've had and how you've overcome, and then what's going on with in your world. So, who is Annetta Swift? Tell us, who are you?
Well, I am born and bred in Cleveland, Ohio.
Okay.
I was raised there until I was 16. Then my father moved us to Atlanta to start his church.
Okay.
So I've been here since 1988. When I graduated from high school, I actually went to school for cosmetology.
Okay.
But I didn't finish because I was like, okay, I'm good. I didn't like it, but I went to another school after then for computer operations. Mm-hmm. During that time, I got married in 93, and before I finished college, I got pregnant. Mm-hmm. So my husband's like, we both want me to be home to take care of the baby, whatever. So basically, by me being home, I still wanted to supplement the income, right. So I started a daycare in my house. Okay. So I had the babies from the church, and it was really a good...
A true entrepreneur.
Hey, glory. Not on purpose, though, you know what I mean? So after that, during that time, I started writing. Mm-hmm. And I would write while the kids were doing nap time. Mm-hmm. I started writing, then the books went to the plays. And so after that, I was connected with someone who wanted me to write a play about, it was Black History Month.
Okay.
And after that, she's like, let's start a drama club. We started a drama club. And the first thing they gave me to write about was CRCT, bullying, and another subject. So I said, well, I know about bullying because I was bullied. And who wouldn't have known that from me doing the plays and the books that it would end up being a foundation. Never in my life.
Look how good, and you just kind of got into it.
Everything evolved.
It's just kind of like, in your mind, it was almost accidentally, but God had a purpose.
Everything was accidental.
But God had a purpose.
Absolutely.
He was a design for what He was going to have you do.
Absolutely, absolutely. So after we did the play, they was like, let's do it again. So the next year, in 2011, we did the play. 2012, we did the musical. After that, the parents wanted me to travel with the kids, and I was like, absolutely not. So what I would do is, and so my mentor at that time, Vincent Campbell, he told me, he said, hey, why don't you put it in a brochure and take it around to schools? And then the Holy Spirit was like, you're an author. Write a book. Yeah. So I wrote the book for the elementary age, and then I was propositioned by a middle school teacher. Said, well, we can't do the elementary book. You need another book for us that's relevant to the kids in his school. So I did a middle and high school version. After that, one of the plays that I did for the church, my MD, his wife was like, I've been watching your books and what you've been doing with the bullying thing. I want to do a rally. I was like, what's a rally? So we did the rally.
Wow.
After the rally, the first rally, I was propositioned again by someone said this needs to be a foundation. So in 2016, because of the rally, I became a foundation. Would have never became 501c3. He had no clue to do that. And so now we're going to the schools, doing things to change lives, save lives. That's my goal. That's my passion. Just help somebody, because I wanted somebody to help me, and no one was there.
Wow, and bullying is, I mean, we're going to talk more, but I know it's the Bully Me Not Foundation that you started. But it's amazing how sometimes in life, we don't always understand what is happening. And sometimes people see, as I mentioned earlier with someone, I said, we can't see the frame of we're in the picture. Sometimes we're too close, so we don't see it because we're stuck where we are.
That's
but
good.
God has so much more for us. So someone else has to come and say, have you thought about this? Have you thought about this? And look where it has gotten you. So people have spoken to your life, people who were visionaries like you, who saw things that God had a call and had a purpose for your life.
Yeah. Would have never gone this route. It was never in my mind. It was not in my radar at all. I was trying to make movies with my books, and I still want to one day make movies with my books or whatever in the plays. But right now, God has me here. I'm taking sidebar.
Just kind of like a little detour for where God wants you to be, because bullying is, we know, she is an expert. She has a wonderful foundation. They do some amazing things with the foundation. But bullying it's almost an epidemic. Would you say it's
It
an
is.
epidemic?
I would definitely say when you have children killing themselves because of it, I believe it's an epidemic. I don't think that there is a cure or an answer for it, just like with cancer or with AIDS or anything like that. There's no defined answer, but they have things to slow it down, things that could possibly, bring it to a halt at one day, if we all come together, but we haven't all come together. And a lot of schools, unfortunately, is like, I don't need it until after a kid dies. Then they're like, girl, what can we do? I can't do nothing now, because what I have is preventive maintenance. I don't have the answer after the fact. It's like, all I can do is pray right now. But I have what you need to keep the kids from doing it in the first place.
So the thing is, because you hear about it, and we know, I tell people, bullying goes beyond just the school. Bullying is in the workplace as well, but in our schools, where sometimes children go to school and their lunch money is taken every day, or they're taunted, or they're teased every day, and they just imagine that's your world every day, and so why do bullies bully? When you talk to bullies, and you grew up where you say you were bullied, so what makes them want to bully other people?
Sometimes they are bullied. Some bullies become a bully so they won't be bullied. So some bullies are like, okay, this ain't happening to me no more. I'm going to be a beast. I'm going to be whatever, and then everybody's scared of them. Sometimes kids are bullied at home or, are abused or whatever. So it's so many reasons, like no one particular answer even for that. But even the bully needs help. So we're actually going another route now, even though we deal with the victims heavily. We're also having counseling. We have a therapist that we're thinking about bringing aboard that will help the kids mentally, because even the ones that the victims need help, but the villain needed help too. There is definitely something going on. It's
amazing as you listen, and if you're on social media, you see countless stories every day about someone being bullied or someone who took their life, an 8-year-old. It just tears at your heart when you see these young children who feel they have no other way out other than to just commit suicide because they're being bullied.
Yeah, it breaks my heart, because at 8 years old, I don't even remember thinking about suicide. I don't remember, like, how's that your... and I know because now we have social media and they're more exposed to more things, but just that being your only out. I can't go to my mom. I can't go to my teacher. And a lot of times kids are scared to snitch because the next day they'll come and kick your butt again. You tell, I got in trouble, I got you. You know what I'm saying? That type of deal. So it's a hard situation, but it's possible if we all come together and work together to see what we can do.
And the point, I think the key thing is schools have to recognize that bullying is happening in almost any school.
Yes, no school is without a bully.
And so for schools to think that we don't have it happening, it may be undercover, it may not be something that's totally obvious, but it's going on. And again, because people don't want to be a snitch, so they don't want to say anything. They see stuff going on. They see that it's not right. But this person here is being broken. They're just going through, and you don't say anything. You're silent. And then when something happens, they're like, well, I saw it, but I didn't say anything. Because I was scared to say something because I didn't want to get involved.
And that's why the lady who started the rallies, she said our motto is speak up and speak out, period, because if we don't say anything, nothing will be said. And then we have another life. Then we have another kid cutting school, skipping school to avoid whatever, giving away their lunch, being hungry all day, being scared. Can you imagine being scared to go to school the next day? And the next day.
And the next day.
For the whole school year.
That's just, you dread even school beginning, because when school begins, you know what's going to happen.
Or you can't help that your parents can't afford food, or they can't afford certain clothes.
Right.
You wearing hand-me-downs, or your clothes are not up to par. What can a child do?
They have no other option. They have to wear what they have, and if they don't have certain things, they can't wear them. But then children are they're cruel. Sometimes children are so cruel. It's like, do you realize when you say stuff to people like that, that's hurtful? But again, sometimes people are being bullied at home or in other areas, so they come and they strike out in the school system. So what are some stats on bullying? Because I think people I know our viewers, they want to know, what are some stats on bullying?
One of the stats, and I just saw last week when I was researching again for the rally we just had this past Friday, we used to be 1 out of every 4 child is being bullied. Now it's 1 out of every 5. So the numbers are growing, you know what I'm saying? So it's ridiculous. It really is. So I don't know what we could do to even make those numbers go away because the people are still not talking.
Right.
And people are still scared. And we want to get into the schools, but sometimes it's so much red tape, it's so much everything. And it's like, nah, we don't need you. We good. We have what they call, most Title I schools, they have a no bullying policy and stuff like that. But like, okay, but it's still going on. I have a parent who was actually on the panel. She's going through litigations now. She had a court order that the child couldn't be with her son on the bus. School year start, guess who's on the bus?
The child.
And this is court ordered.
It's not like just don't do that. This is like court. So the child was on the bus, so what happened? So
he bullied him again. And so the boy called his mom frantic, and so she's actually going to pull him out and homeschool him. But everybody can't do that.
That's the reality.
Everybody can't do that.
They can't homeschool.
So when you at work and your child at home by themselves, that's not a good solution either, because they can get into anything.
But if you have a court order, then again, the
school said they didn't get it, but they were supposed to have gotten it. She went past the principal, she went to the superintendent, and they still didn't do anything. So she went to the police, whatever. But I don't know. I like those situations. It's like a catch-22. What can you do? I want to help you, but there's no way I can help you if the school said no. And it makes sense if you hear the school side. Both kids have the right to go to school.
Right.
Both kids have the right to transportation. I mean, it's like, how do you take an education from somebody else because of their behavior?
Right.
So the schools cannot just say, okay, we're going to take them out because of this. We have to consider what this child's rights are as well. They both have rights.
Right. But at the end of the day, the child is traumatized, the one who's being bullied, and it affects their academics. Because when you're being bullied, you can't really focus on your schoolwork. You're not necessarily the best student because you're afraid of like, okay, what's going to happen next. I mean, just to live in that perpetual fear. Now, you say you were bullied, so, I mean,
absolutely.
So growing up, that's...
Oh, my goodness. And that's what made me want to write the play, because I know all about that. I was like, it was nothing for me to write it because I just remember the days. I was a chubby kid, so I just remember the days kids would take my lunch. You don't need to eat, you fat pig, you whatever. Every day, go through that. So it's like, well, okay, you want my lunch? Because I wanted to fit in. So I'm trying to buy friends.
Right.
I bring snacks from home. Do you want this? Do you want that? Just to fit in.
To be accepted.
So, to be accepted. So it messes with your self-esteem, and people don't realize how much of a scar they leave. The bully, they're not thinking about it. They're just trying to do what they're doing. And of course, a child's mind is not as mature as an adult mind, but then we have adult bullies too.
Yeah.
I'll drink to that.
Yeah, some water, yes. Yeah, there are bullying, I tell people when I go into the workplace, because I do a lot of speaking and training in corporate America, government agencies. I'm blessed to be able to travel the country, and I tell people I'm a marketplace evangelist, and I praise God for just the gift that He's given me. It's real. You have bully bosses. My niece, at one point, was working at a company, and she was not wanting to go to work. She said her boss was a bully, and some of the stuff she was telling me, I'm like, so I looked at her, I'm like, so why aren't you handling this? I said, who defines who you are? Who is your father? I said, you serve an awesome God. I said, He did not put someone in your path as a boss. Now, you respect and you give your boss their respect. That's what you do. But in the interim, they have to also respect you. And so I said, you need to take your power back. I said, so I'm going to tell you how to take your power back. I said, because you're stressed out, coming home stressed out, your family's impacted. That's not the way it is. I said, what happened is that she allowed, how it all started, she allowed her boss to talk to her any kind of way, basically, just like, and she didn't say anything. And I'm like, that's not even the person that I know. And so when you give people a free pass for that and they talk down to you and they say things, they keep doing those things. And so it becomes now it's a power thing because you're my boss. So now I'm going to use that to say, if you don't do this, then your job could be threatened. I said, so you begin the threatening behavior, the control stuff. I said, you do your job. So I gave her some specific things to do, and she took her power back. She got a different job. She was able to move on.
That's
I said,
good.
never give your power to another person who walks in the flesh. Respect them for who they are, but they're not God.
That's right.
But when a person is not respectful of you, and when I worked in healthcare years ago, I worked with physicians, and I would say, I respect your knowledge, but we need to understand how we're going to talk to each other.
Okay.
I said, so I'm going to talk to you with respect, and that's going to take place in return. And so when people understand that, or you call people, and when I tell people, one of the first things you can do when you have a bully boss, when they start talking to you in a way that's not professional, that's not respectful, is to do a timeout. Excuse me. We are both adults.
That's right.
And I know that this is important for you to share with me, but how we talk to each other, it's about mutual respect. So the way you were talking to me, I did not feel the respect. So can we start this conversation over? When you do that, you shock them.
Very much so, I'm
because
sure.
they're not expecting that. And basically you have no more problem after that.
Yeah.
And so it is real. It's in the workplace just like it is in the school system. It's in the workplace. They have workplace bullies. And sometimes not even your supervisor, it may be a colleague. So it's real. It's totally real, and it creates people where they're not productive. They don't perform well. Same thing in the school system. You're not making good grades because how you gonna concentrate?
Scared.
You're trying to basically maybe get on the bus early before anybody else. I can sit near the front, and they won't bother me today.
And then they sit behind you, poking at you. I just wish that we could have at the schools especially, like a youth peer counseling team that the kids can anonymously go to and say, look, this is happening. And then the peer group goes to the administration and say, this is what's happening to so-and-so, this is the person, we need to tackle this or whatever. So that they're comfortable enough to say something.
Exactly.
That's the biggest thing. People don't want to say nothing. That was my thing. After I told that first time, I wasn't telling anymore because I didn't have anybody to fight for me.
Wow, so you said one time and then it became worse.
Yeah, because they beat me up the next day. Yep. And then I tried to be a bully and still got beat up. So.
Wow.
Yes, that's true. That's a true story. Yes.
That is so serious. I mean, it is. We really have to understand that when your children are being bullied, don't take it lightly because these children are sometimes like on a tightrope. They're at a point. They're on the edge, and sometimes that one person who says something that one day, and then we have the cyberbullying.
Oh God, that's
people are
horrible.
doing stuff online. So you have not just the bullying in school. Now you're taking it to where it's happening online as well.
Social media. And once something gets on the World Wide Web, you can never take it back. You can't find the origin, and you can't take it back.
So but you do some great things. You spoke at a conference I did earlier this year, the Tween Teen Summit. You have a skit that you do. There are things that you do to help mitigate and help people understand things you can do when you're dealing with a bully. So talk to us about some of the things that you shared in that place, some of the aspects of how young people and parents who are watching and children who are watching, how they can do some things maybe to help themselves if this is happening to you.
And one of the things we talk about, the skits, we show physical bullying, verbal bullying, cyberbullying, and social bullying. All happens, and there's other bullying too, but those are the four that we concentrate on. And we let them see it. Sometimes when you see yourself, it's like, oh, that's me? Because you can relate to something like that. So once we open up that door, we let them know, okay, you have to speak up and speak out. That's the biggest thing. If you don't say anything, that's it. Nobody knows. So once you speak up and speak out, then you keep a paper trail, especially for the parents. If you email them, and that's something that we talked about this past week too, keep a record of every email because now it's documented. It's stamped, dated, time, and everything. So you send the email, they still don't do nothing. You call, you record everything that you do because that'll stand up in court if anything is to happen. So you have to follow up, but if you don't, nothing can be done. And that's the biggest thing. A lot of times the parents don't say anything. I'm tired. They get off work, they want to go to bed or whatever. We don't have time for anything. We all on our phones. So we really don't have much conversation.
Yeah, because we've gotten away from from having regular conversations like this at a dinner table.
Yeah, no dinner table.
To where it's walk by. It's like you getting your food from a table, going to your bedroom, and there's no conversation. We really have to get back to learning how to talk to people. Because when we grew up, I'm sure you can relate, you sat at the table, you talk, how was your day?
Yeah.
Fine. No, what made it fine?
Yeah, what did you do today?
And
what did your teacher teach you? Or whatever. But there's conversation.
They went deeper. You just didn't give a one answer response, and that was it. They wanted to know, okay, specifically, okay, what happened? What made it good?
Details.
And so we sat there, and you got a chance, and parents could see things that were going on with us because we were there doing it every day. So now sometimes you don't even know what's happening with your children because you're into your world dealing with what you got to deal with. They're in their world. Sometimes they don't want to share because they don't want to feel they can't handle it on their own.
That's right. That's right.
Meanwhile, it's tearing them up on the inside because they're snapping. I see it happening when I talk to youth. I was working at a school at one point helping with young girls. Young girls who were having challenges, who were going through some difficulties. So I was coming in teaching them about self-esteem, just things, etiquette, communication. And the one young lady came to me, she said, "Miss Lewis," she said, "I'm a bully." I said, "What?" I mean, you know, sometimes we have in our mind what a bully looks like.
That's right.
And in my mind, you know, I had kind of like sometimes what a bully might look like.
Boy, definitely.
I mean, this girl was a beautiful young lady. She said, "I bully people." I said, "Why do you do that?" She said, "Well, I don't know." She really didn't have an answer. But I said, "Well, I'm going to encourage you and tell you to stop bullying." I said, because that's not what you need to do. That's not of God. That's not who He called you to be, to bully and taunt other people. That's not nice. But I mean, I had no idea. When she came out, I was like, "What? You are a bully?"
Right.
She said, "Yeah, I bully people." She self-disclosed, and I knew she did it for a reason. And so I think later on, she stopped doing it. I said, that's not something that's going to endear people to you. It's a fear thing because people fear you. They may be around you, but they fear you.
Scared of what you want to do.
That's not the way you want people to be around you. Where they're scared of you. You want people to be around you because they love and enjoy your fellowship and who you are. So she self-disclosed. So sometimes we have in our mind, almost probably have had in our mind, what a bully looks like.
Yep.
And bullies come in all shapes, sizes, colors. They come in all different flavors. And so when your children are telling you that they're being bullied, the one thing that you don't want to do, don't ignore it.
Yes, do not. And it leaves a scar forever. One of my board members, he was sharing that he got an inbox from a guy who he bullied 20 years ago. And the guy said that this has scarred him to that day. And I guess that was his way of confronting the guy. And so he did a public apology on Facebook. He said, 20 years ago, I bullied this guy. I had no idea that it affected him and scarred him like this, but I want to publicly apologize for what I did. So I thought that was really big of him. He was like, I didn't realize I was a bully. I was just being a kid, just messing with people like we normally do. A lot of people don't know what it is.
But then, like you said, the scarring later on, 20 years later, or 5 years later,
20 years later,
or 10 years later.
He don't even remember the incident. The guy that was the bully does not remember the incident.
But the other person, I guarantee,
he will never forget it.
He can map it out step by step what took place.
Yep.
So again, you're hearing the scarring that takes place in terms of, even though, you know, the wound may heal.
That scar's still there.
The scar it goes deep.
Yep.
And so your skit was really helpful because it helped people to see different aspects, because sometimes we think of bullying as only physical. But now we know that the cyberbullying, the social media stuff it has its danger
I think
as well.
The biggest one used to be physical. Cyberbullying has far surpassed that. Cyberbullying has far surpassed that. Yep.
So we really just have some major issues out here. And so tell people I know you want to know more about her. I know you do. I know you want to know how you can reach her, how she can come to your school, to your church, wherever you are. Because if you have children, you have young people, you have high school students, you can use her. So tell them how they can reach you.
You can reach me at bullymenotfoundation.org or bullymenotfoundation@gmail.com. Also on Instagram, Bully Me Not Foundation. Facebook, Bully Me Not Foundation. So Bully Me Not Foundation to hook you up, yes.
And so you have a book also that helps people. So
we have two books.
You have 2 books so they can get the books to help them in terms of this wall. And then you've written some other books. I read one of your books. You gave me one of your books.
Oh, really?
Angel.
Oh, okay.
Now, again, she does the Bully Me Not Foundation. That's her thing. That's what you want to reach out to her. She does an amazing job with that. But she's also a wonderful author. So she gave me a book probably a couple months ago. And so when you get a chance, read the book. I said, okay, because I love to read. So I started reading the book. She gave it to me like one day, literally like on a Friday. I started reading the book. I couldn't put it down. I finished it by the next day. And I texted her and said, your book is amazing.
Yeah, thank God.
It was like, it just kept you, just the web, the twists and turns. I was like, wow, so you are a great author as well.
Thank you. Yeah, thank God.
And you were surprised when I tell you that book was good. You were surprised I read it in a day.
Yeah, I was like, what? But I hear that often when people start reading, like, I just couldn't put it down because I want to find out what happened. And I hear a lot of people who are not avid readers, people who don't like to read. They like, once I pick up the book, I have to keep going. So I have several books. that I've authored. So that was always my goal. Like I said, I don't know how I got on the bullying thing, but I'm glad about it.
Because you're changing lives, you're helping young people.
Absolutely.
And you're getting some people to speak up, you're making people to become more aware.
That's what I do.
Again, the key thing is raising their awareness about bullying. Just because you think it's not happening in your school or it's not happening in your workplace, it is.
It is.
It's just underground.
Yeah.
And so when it goes underground, the damage is sometimes when it emerges and it's not pretty.
At all. It's never pretty.
And so we just need to be reminded that you have a resource here. You have a wonderful person who can come in and help your organization, can help your school to know how to navigate the waters of the different kinds of bullying, who is an expert at what she does. You want experts. You want somebody who knows what they're doing. She knows what she's doing. Their skill is powerful. It relates to the young people where they are.
Yes, and I love doing it. I love any opportunity. We go to churches, we go to schools, wherever we're needed, we go. That's what we do. We want to raise awareness. We have to raise awareness. Because if people don't know, they don't know. So we help them know. And this happening in your house, or wherever.
Yeah, because bullying can be happening at home. It can happen,
lot of times.
And then it spreads out. But that one life that you may save, it's worth it all.
Yes, it is.
It's worth it all. So we need to have our eyes and ears open, because sometimes we see things and we discount them as not being significant, not being important. And sometimes it's bullying behavior, and we have to call people on it when we see it ourselves.
Yes, that's true.
As adults. And if you see it happening with siblings, because sometimes siblings will bully each other, and it's all in the fun of, well, that's just my sibling. But sometimes, again, what's
scars? Family scars, yes.
And so it's real. This is a real topic and a timely topic, because we're seeing more, as you see, it's happening more and more and more. So the reality is that you need Annetta Swift to come and talk to your group. You need her and her team. There are actors and actresses who come in and do a wonderful skit for you, helping you realize and make the connection of just how significant bullying is.
Yes.
So it is just great. And when I saw it, sometimes you just got to see stuff when I saw it, because I heard about you before I met you. And then we met, we were just kindred spirits. We just it's like we've been knowing each other for all our life. So it's like, you're just a mighty woman of God who's doing amazing work. And I praise God for how he's using you to change lives, to make people to raise the awareness, to put bullying on the map, because it needs to be on the map and the radar for everyone, because it is real.
Yes.
And so I thank you for joining me today on Conversations with Nancy J, as we talk to Annetta Swift with the Bully Me Not Foundation. So I just want to encourage you, because you may say, well, I don't know what to do. You have someone you can reach out to. She's told you how to reach her Bully Me Not Foundation on all the social media platforms, so there's no excuse. I want to encourage you to not lose hope, to realize God loves you. You're the apple of his eye. God loves all of us. I tell you, this is a God show. I'm just a steward, and I praise God for just the opportunity to be able to be here to talk with everyday people doing extraordinary things. So as we think about your week coming up, I just want you to be focused, to be real, to just keep going, never stop, be intentional with your life. And I pray that God blesses you and that you have an amazing week. God bless you till next week.